Hi, my name's Chuy Gonzalez, and I'm drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody, taking time out before we get this show started. I want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin' Mo's be a brand ambassador for their clothing line. They got good stuff. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got beanies, they got lots of great stuff, encouraging everybody to break out of their comfort zone, live their best self, and hey, it's something I try to live every day. Now, be sure when you go and you're filling out your order, use the code Drinkin' at Moe's, get 10% off, and the link and the code will both be in the description. Let's fucking go. All right, everybody, welcome to Drinkin' Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Because that YouTube algorithm is a pain in the ass. We are in most places you can find audio podcasts too. Today, I'm excited to have with me out of Arizona, right?
Yep.
Chuy Gonzalez. How you doing?
Doing good, brother. How about yourself?
Oh, I can't complain. The promotion that just had Ronda Rousey on last night, Wrestling Revolver. I'm going to a show of theirs here in a couple weeks, closer to me. So I'm excited. They got some good stuff planned. I developed some friends there, so I'm pretty excited to get to see and hang around them again.
No, that's nice. That's nice. That's good.
First thing I like to start off with everybody with is what got you started as a fan, and then what made you decide to, make that leap into the business.
So I want to say around 2008 or 9. When I was little, I would always watch WWE and YouTube. It was never like on that year or that day. It would always be mixed up of what happened like years before or a year after, year before. The first wrestler that really got me, hooked into it was The Undertaker. With his character, all that crazy stuff. And then it went into, Rey Mysterio with his high flying, his mask, and then John Cena, Randy Orton, list goes on and on around that era. And when it comes to me going into it, I originally wanted to start training back around 2019, I want to say. And at the time I was 16. And that reason was, at the time, there's a time where I stopped watching wrestling for a bit, and I kind of got back into it later on, and I don't know, it just clicked to me. I'm like, maybe this is something I want to try out. Maybe this is something I really want to do. Because around that time, I was also thinking, what is it I want to do in my life? Late once I grow up, what is it I want to do? So I started looking around, looking if there's any schools here in Arizona, and lucky enough, I found one, and there's a youth academy. And I told my mom about it, and she was not happy.
I can imagine.
Yeah, she was not happy about that, so she told me no, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of sad about it, but I was still in school, so
yeah,
I did wrestling in high school. I did football for like 1 year there too, and even around that time, I was still thinking in my mind, like, this is something I'm going to want to do. Once I turn 18, once I get the money, all right, I'm going to go for it. And it didn't happen until last year in July. Before then, actually, I was, going through Instagram, and I saw the ad of that same school. And I'm like, well, I have the money now. I'm about to turn 18 in a month. Why not give it a shot? And so then right there, did a tryout, and ever since then, been working.
Been going at it. That's awesome. And not only you're still relatively young, and I mean, hell, this is coming from a 40-year-old right now, but that's a whole nother story. But like, especially right now, there are a lot of great young talent out there getting their starts relatively young. I I've been lucky enough to have, well, one huge one off the, oh, excuse me. I like my Dr. Pepper, but it gives me the burst like crazy. Billy Starks. I've actually been lucky enough to have her on, and God, this was like, I'm wanting to say right after she got out of her junior year of high school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I've been hearing, I'm like, oh man, constantly dreaming up, okay, who's some big names out there that I could possibly get. And
Yeah.
I keep on hearing about Billy Starks, and I'm seeing the matches and stuff. And I'm like, that would be awesome. And then she mentioned concentrating more on school. Understandable.
Yeah.
So said to get a hold of her after, the school year's over. Boom, we got it done. And I think right now, one of, at least on YouTube, one of my top 15, 20 episodes out of damn near 200 now.
Oh wow.
So I guess what I was trying to lead into there, what is it like for you being young in the business, mixing it up with, you know, people that have been in, some maybe just about as long as you've been alive?
Well, it's quite an experience, like, because like when I started training, there's some people around my age, some a little older. Um, I want to say the oldest I've wrestled was Clutch, Big Money Clutch from Vegas. I want to say he's the oldest. I'm not 100% sure. And with his experience, him guiding me. And then when it comes to my trainer too, Charles,
Yep.
obviously he's been doing this for over 10 years.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
getting to pick his brain, learn from him. So when it comes to like getting guys or that have those years of experience, I want to say I've been lucky to
Yeah.
have those people around me and be able to guide me.
Oh, that's definitely a wealth of knowledge there. Bringing up Charles there, former guest of mine. I was very happy to have him on. And well, I had my notes arranged here a little differently, but since we're on the topic of him, we'll jump right into stuff with IZW, which, I mean, with my, talking to him and a few other people becoming familiar with. And they, him in particular, just coming off of apparently, I guess, his last match.
Yep.
So what's it like for you being a part? Obviously you have that connection with Charles Cassis, and getting to, I guess, is that considered like your home promotion?
So yeah, I was there that night of his last match, and it was a big emotional night, but it was also a very heartwarming for me, at least. I know it's probably heartwarming for him too. We had Bryce Saturn there. We
Mm.
had Akira Gonzalez, Damien Desire, me, like his kids. We're all there together, there to support him. And I mean, we got to hang out after the show too. Got some pizza.
Yeah.
um, and when it comes to ICW, yes, it is my home. I mean, it's here in Arizona. I started there. I started there in August, and my debut match with them was in September. And I mean, ever since then, I've been very grateful for the opportunities I've been getting from them. And being able to work with them. I mean, even when I was still training, I would go to their shows, help set up, see how it is they work around,
Yeah.
how it is they do things.
they do pretty solid from what I've been able to keep up with. And Charles, he also has another thing in wrestling that God dang, Dr. Pepper burps again. All right. Anyways, Charles has another thing that he has when it comes to business, wrestle drag. And you've been
Yes.
involved there too, which I mean, okay. I have had some people that, you know, when they look right at me, they probably wouldn't guess that I would be accepting of that, you know, drag shows and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, that community. And I always just tell people, you know what, if you're wanting to watch my show, you're my kind of people. I don't care how you identify, as long as you're happy, you're being a good person, we're cool.
Yeah.
So, and when I talked to him about wrestle drag, it was like he brought it up, and I'm like, yeah, that's an interesting concept because, you know, drag shows, you're competing for, you know, the cheers of the crowd. Wrestling, you get the
Yeah.
same sort of concept.
Yeah.
What's it been like for you there?
So, for Wrestle Drag, for me, the first show I went to, this was when I was still helping out. It was their December show last year, and that was honestly my first drag show. So being able to like watch it, experience it, see how it is they work, it's really interesting. I mean, and I'm still learning a lot when it comes to the community, and um, it's been nothing but fun. And my first show there with them was in June. Their biggest crowd they've had. And that was quite an experience for me too. I was really nervous that
I
that
can
that whole
imagine.
night. And the last show we did was at Charlie's here, Charlie's in Phoenix. It's a bar. Even that was also a fun experience. And for me, um, again, I'm still learning a lot more when it comes to the community, when it comes to drag queens, and it also made me realize, the similarities. I know he's said, the similarities of drag and wrestling. They dress up, perform. Exactly what we do. I'm in
Pretty
I'm in
much.
my underwear performing in front of people, wearing high boots.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, it was funny when we were talking about it because I'm like, you know what? I guess I never really thought of it like that.
Yeah.
You know, you really sit down and think of it, you start noticing those similarities, and you're like, okay, I know my wife. She took me to a drag brunch once, and I was just like, oh god, like, oh geez, well, it was like my first one, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh god, what is this gonna be like? And then I'm like, just sitting back, laughing, having a good time. Is like one, I think they could tell that it was my first one
Yeah.
because some of the drag queens there started coming around it the table that my wife and I were at and messing with me, and I'm like, "You're funny."
No, yeah. Even in the locker room, I've shared a locker rooms with drag queens, and I've got to know them, got to talk with them, meet
Oh yeah,
them, and honestly, just love them.
oh yeah. There's some pretty great people I know. Hell, professional wrestling even has somebody, Pollo Del Mar, manager of champions, as they they like to call her, and hell, just about everywhere she goes, people love her. She's
Yeah.
awesome. I've been lucky enough to get to interact with her little bits here and there, but nothing but great things.
Oh
Nothing but
yeah.
great. Now, you also are getting ready to make your debut in another Lucha Libre promotion, if I'm remembering right.
Lucha Vaz.
Lucha
I
Boss, yeah.
already
Oh,
did my debut.
that one already happened. Okay, because I
Yes.
was seeing that, and I'm like, okay, I want to ask about this, but I guess the date kind of slipped past me there.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
It was a good experience actually. Very fun. I've I've I followed Voz even before that. Got to see some of his stuff, his work, and the festivals he does. Awesome. And originally I really wasn't gonna be in it, and then he messaged me like a couple days beforehand. He's like, "Hey, are you free to work this day?" And thankfully, it was the day after the IZW show. So I told him, yeah, of course. Just let me know what time, what it is you want me to do. And, I got a match against Aguilar. And, even beforehand at the festival, just walking around the vendors, um, it was a lot of fun. Got to eat some amazing food. And the food was good, keep in mind. Um, and, and the fans there too, got to interact with them, be mean. Got to yell at one fan. He was really on me.
That's awesome because I can understand making a debut for a promotion that you might be familiar with, but when it comes to that's your first time out in front of that crowd, you might be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, how are they gonna react to me being out here?
Yeah,
Might be a little nervous.
that's pretty much what I expect every show I go to. Especially whenever I would go to Texas, the first time I went there, I was pretty nervous. I mean, I'm always nervous every match I go into, but just that night, because different crowd is not it's not here in Phoenix.
Yeah,
It's different states in El Paso. So I don't know how it is they're gonna react. I don't know how they're gonna take to me.
yeah.
Um, but every every time I go out there do my thing, I would always get the reaction. Sometimes not the one I want, sometimes the one I really want. But as long as I get something from the crowd, that's what it is, that I want.
No, that is the thing that I can imagine everybody, you guys all want, whether it's cheering, booing, whatever, you're getting that reaction out of them. So
Yeah.
you're doing your job there. And one thing that I guess I didn't really realize here, like I know everybody talks about the PWI 500, you know, that many wrestlers. And then I guess the last couple of years I started noticing, them doing like black wrestlers. There's the one that you're on, actually, the Hispanic Latino Wrestler 500. What was it? I got the number here, 398, which, that is pretty awesome to get that recognition. Anywhere on that list is pretty awesome.
No, yeah. When I saw the list, I mean, I was just going over it. I wasn't really expecting like me to be on it, and then once I
Yeah.
saw I was 398, I was like, oh, and it was just the number itself. I wasn't really expecting like around there. It was at least like 400, but the fact that one again I was on that list and I was 398, really, it really meant a lot to me. It might not seem like a lot, but to me it did mean a lot.
Oh, I
And the
can.
fact that he Brian put me on the list, again, very very thankful for that.
No, I
And
can imagine. Yeah, you might not be expecting it right away, looking like, oh yeah, it would be cool if I was on there, but it's like, one of those were like me, like I might be my own worst critic,
yeah,
so it'd be like, oh, if there was like a list of, well, for podcasters, that I'd be like, oh, it'd be cool if I were on there, but I'm not expecting it. And then you
yeah.
like, if you like, for you were able to actually see your name on there. Got to be a cool feeling.
No, it was a cool feeling for sure. And like I see some of the guys that I'm friends with on that list too. I saw Steve Aleikin on it, I saw Lorenzo on it. And again, this I'm not even a year in. because I started back in April. So the fact that I'm on that list around the time I've been doing this, again, means a lot to me.
Oh, I can understand, and that is a big honor already.
Oh
That's
yeah, I didn't even know
awesome.
he knew me. So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. All right, now I have two categories here that I kind of like to round stuff off with. One's a bit of a name game where I name off some wrestlers. I try to theme it towards the guest as much as possible. And, figuring we talked a little bit about the Hispanic Latino, the lucha libre culture. Each of these guys is, well, I think each of them were actually on that list with you.
mm.
All right. First one here, like I said, you give you the name, you give me quick thoughts on the person. This first one, I actually got to see him live once at a AEW Dynamite taping against Kenny Omega, talking about Vikingo.
Vikingo. So I've seen a lot of his clips, especially on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, before then, I didn't really know much about him. Once until I saw, the little clips of him doing the
Yeah.
630 splash on people onto tables. I'm just like, I'm not. I'm glad I don't do that, or I can't do that, even if I wanted to. But big fan of his work. I'm glad to see someone being able to represent the Hispanic community doing great things.
Oh yeah. I remember, oh God, there one of those spots through the table that you were talking about when I saw him against Kenny Omega, where I think they got a better view on TV because I've since
Yeah,
watched it back, where like he goes over the top rope and it damn near looks like the back of his
yeah.
head hits
I
the
saw
ring
that clip.
apron, and I'm like,
Nah.
ow.
Yeah, I saw it. I think that was like one of the first few clips I saw, and I'm just like, scary, man.
Yeah, and he's been doing some pretty good work with my friends over at Warrior Wrestling out of Chicago. They seen him leaping off of stuff, and I'm like, okay, you got me hooked just off of the.
Yeah,
And I normally go off of that raw, intense, like Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens.
yeah.
Well, we'll go right into the next guy on the list because he's very much this way. Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston. So the first time I saw him, I first saw him in person back in January when Championship Wrestling did the Red Carpet Rumble here in Arizona. I didn't talk to him or anything because I was nervous. Big name. I didn't want to seem like I didn't want to go up to him. I didn't want to seem like I'm interrupting him or anything like that. But Eddie Kingston, seeing his work in AEW, even in the Indies, even now in New Japan, it's nothing but amazing. His style scares me. It's like it makes me question, like would I be able to hang with them in the ring if I were to ever get a chance to work with them? So it's like just wondering what would happen.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely has that intense style. He's like, not even kidding, one of my absolute favorites right now. Between like AEW guys like I said, Samoa Joe,
Yep.
Eddie Kingston, FTR, the guys that just that no nonsense, just knock the
Yeah.
crap out of you guys.
Even his promos, they're
Oh God, yeah. Like I
they're real.
just saw one that was, I believe it aired on Ring of Honor TV last night. I'm wanting to say where he talked about you know not wanting to be one of those world champions that just barely ever shows up.
Yeah.
And you just see the look on his face, and it's just like, yes, you drew me in.
Yeah.
All right, next one, a guy doing some pretty big things. People are wondering what he's gonna do, but he's Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest.
Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest. I didn't know any of his work in the Indies. I didn't know about him until once he popped up on NXT. And just the first time I saw him, I was like, okay, there's something right here. And just seeing him evolve throughout the years from when he first started NXT to where he's at now with the Judgment Day, Mr. Money in the Bank, and now he's one half of the tag team champions.
Yeah.
And um, and the fact that he had probably the best match of the night at Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny
Mm,
says a
yeah.
lot.
Oh,
um,
I still get goosebumps thinking about and watching Bad Bunny's entrance from that
oh
show.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad that he used Chambea instead of Booker T. I mean, I like the his song Booker T, but Chambea is probably one of my favorites. And the
Oh,
fact that the crowd were singing along with it.
oh man, every word. It was just like, ooh.
Oh yeah, nothing but goosebumps, man.
Oh man,
And
yeah.
it makes you like wonder as like a wrestler. That's probably like one of the best things as being a wrestler, like listening to the crowd, interacting like during your entrance, singing your theme song. It's
Oh
probably like
yeah.
one of the best things, best
Oh,
feelings.
oh man, I can only imagine making an entrance and having everybody like word for word along with
Oh
it.
yeah.
Like it would be to the point where even if I was a heel and I would hear people like it would take everything in me not to like crack a smile. Like this is
Oh
freaking
yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know it's definitely something I would love to experience. This probably like one of the things on my bucket list. Um, Even yeah, again, same here. I'll probably try so hard not to crack a smile.
All right. Now with the name game on luchadors, I think a lot of people would be looking at me funny if I didn't have this last guy on here.
Hmm.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio. Yeah, he was one of the first luchadors I really got into. It was him and Eddie Guerrero. I mean, back when I was little, I was a big Rey Mysterio fan. I used to have like one of his masks. I had a baby blue one, and I don't know, especially during parties. If there's a bouncy house, I always wear that mask, hitting nothing but ranas on other kids. We just
Oh
be
yeah.
wrestling towards each other. Always fun, and I don't know. I feel like I don't know what it is with him being able to connect with almost everyone, not only people in in Hispanics, other races. He
Yeah.
just had I don't know. It's just something about him that connects with everyone.
Oh, most definitely. He has that unique ability that no matter the age, race, gender, whatever,
Yeah.
he has that way of connecting with just about everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, I started watching him when he was obviously still in WWE, and then once I learned more about him, I saw more of his work in WCW. That was when he did more of the a lot more
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then even after when he left WWE, his Lucha Underground stuff, I'm like,
Oh yeah. That was some intense stuff. And like rewinding even further, going back to like his run in ECW and some of the
oh
stuff. Oh man.
yeah, it was nothing but incredible.
Oh god, yeah. All right, now I have some random questions. Some might be wrestling related, some might not be. Some might have absolutely nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far. That's why they're random.
Let's hit him.
I give you the question, you give me first answer it pops in your head.
Gotcha.
First one, relatively young in the business, but what is the craziest in match moment of yours that you've had so far?
Um, Nothing too crazy, really, other than what I saw and experienced during a match I was in, which was a six-man match. And I see one of the guys in the ring go for a tope. And turns out when he landed, he dislocated his shoulder, I want to say. I don't know, he popped something. That was one of the to me, I'm just watching, I'm just in the corner, I'm just like, oh, I had a good view of it too.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
Oh God, I can only imagine being in there with them when it's happening. I know I've seen some pretty crazy stuff. I've seen flaming glass. I've seen like this promotion's version of the Money in the Bank ladder match where one of my friends was actually involved in this moment,
Really.
bridging like the ladder between the guardrail and the ring apron. And I see him, he has a guy on his back, and I see him jump, ladder folds, and I'm like,
Mm.
ouch.
I've experienced that yet, so I'm not really sure how it feel.
Yeah, no, I would not even know if I'd want to even try to figure that one out.
Yeah.
All right, next one. If you ever won like a big lottery jackpot and had what I like to call fuck it money, what is a thing that you would get?
uh it would definitely just get a house. Be able to support if I were to have that much money, I would just do nothing but support my family.
Hey, that
Yeah.
good solid choice.
It's mainly because it's also just like I don't really know what to do with that much, like what to buy other than something stupid, but it's like why waste it?
Yeah, no, good solid choice. I mean, house a good choice, and then you know, I always I find it funny when people talk about, oh, you'd never be able to spend that much money. I'm like, watch me.
Oh yeah, you never know.
Yeah, it's like you give me that much money and tell me I have to spend every penny. No, do not tempt me with a good time.
Give me like a week.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, now, what is a match type that you would like to avoid if you could?
It would definitely. It would be. I feel like people are not gonna like this answer, but it would be a death match.
Okay, hey, I'm a fan of death matches, but they aren't for everybody.
Yeah, and it's like, in death matches, there's just a lot of risks, you know,
Yeah, that
and
is
it's
true.
like, so it's like you never know what could happen.
Yeah, very true. There's been like I remember watching one pretty big name in that world, Hoodfoot. Like he was in the match, and all of a sudden the match just kind of abruptly stops.
Oh,
And then you find out later that it was because he had a pretty nasty gash in his arm that they just
ugh.
decided it was like best to just stop the match. He made a
Thankfully
full
they did.
recovery, but I remember watching that show live and I was just like, well, what the heck?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not for everybody. So death matches would be one that I could see some choosing to avoid if they could.
And it's not me like dissing anyone that does death
Oh yeah,
matches. The fact that they're willing to put their bodies on the line to entertain people in the crowd.
yeah,
So it's like, but it's not for everyone.
yeah. No, like I said, I'm a fan. I know a lot of people that aren't. I remember, it was as of recording this last Monday. I was watching a show that they had a death match on there, and my wife was actually sitting right next to me, and she was just like, oh God, is that a carpet strip? Why is that necessary? And I was just like, this is I was getting almost as much entertainment watching the match and her, like her
Yeah.
reaction to it.
No, I would always used to show my mom little clips. This was like back when I was before even training. I would always show her clips of like some crazy spot that would happen in a match. I would just show it to her, but like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do.
Oh
I
man,
think that's
really
what made
trying
her
to drive your mom
decide not
nuts.
to let me train early on.
Oh man, yeah. Like I said, really driving your mom nuts there.
Oh yeah, it's always fun.
Oh, I can imagine. I know I get a little enjoyment out of teasing my mom a little bit. Those little jokes, the little jabs.
No, yeah, it's always fun. That's just how my family always works. We always like to mess with each other.
Oh, same with my in-laws right now.
Oh wow.
Oh, good lord, yeah, no, you definitely don't leave your phone unlocked around my in-laws.
To
I
and here in my house, you always put your name on your food, but there's times that doesn't even matter either.
Awesome. All right, now, well, speaking of food, everybody has a favorite and a least favorite. Me, I'm not really a picky eater, but
Yeah.
I do have my stuff that I avoid. What would you say is a favorite and a least favorite food?
I'm also not really much of a picky eater, but favorite I gotta say, and this is I always argue with my friends about this because they always argue about this, but hands down, it's my mom's tamales.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
always argue with them. She makes the best ones, and I still stand by that argument. I mean,
Nope.
even in my whole family, whenever they find out she's making tamales, they always ask her, "Hey, you can make me some?"
No, I can understand. I know my in-laws have. There's a couple people around town that, yeah, whenever they're making some, it's like boom. And oh man, some of the food at my in-laws stuff. But me, God, it's always between three for me.
Mm,
I love a good cheeseburger.
yeah.
I tacos. Oh, give me a whole mess of damn tacos. And then my wife loves to tease me about this anytime we go to any Italian place, but
Yeah.
lasagna.
Mm.
I oh god, like we went to Olive Garden not all
Yeah.
that long ago, and she's like, "You don't even need a menu." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right."
Yeah, no, my go-to Olive Garden would be the pasta Alfredo.
That that solid choice, solid choice. All
Yeah.
right, now also another thing here, being relatively young in the business, you have a unique perspective of getting started. What is some of the best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling? Or we can spin this. What is the best advice you've been given so far?
What I've been given, and this is before my debut match, and this is around the same. This is in January. I was helping Charles with his merch, selling his merch, and lucky enough, next to me I had Navajo Warrior.
Mm,
I had Navajo Warrior next to me, and me and him talked for like solid. I don't even know, like 30 minutes, probably less. I'm not really sure, and it would just be a little conversation. And I just went up to him. I'm just like, um, what advice would you give me before I would have my first match? And he told me, which is, I feel like everyone should know by now. It's take your time with everything. Work with the crowd, interact with them. Don't just don't get to rush into things. It's always take your time, slow down. And so, I mean, to this day, I always think about that. And when it comes to giving, I'm not really sure. It would mainly just be, just do your research on the school first.
mm.
Make sure the trainer you're getting, knows his stuff. Um, and just be what's the word? I guess just be teachable.
Be teachable.
You know,
Be a sponge.
yeah, and
Soak up all the
also
information.
just don't get. I guess I could say don't get overly excited. Because even throughout my when I was still training, I would always see some new people come in and they would I guess they'll just be overly excited with some things. They would be expecting to do things already, even though they haven't learned the roles.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I mean,
Like
I used to
not
be that was me when I first started too. Before, but even then, I still kept my place, learned my stuff.
no understandable. You don't want to get discouraged or get your hopes up thinking you're going to pick up something quick. Like some people pick it up quicker than others,
Yeah,
but doesn't mean that you won't get it. It's just some stuff might take you a little bit longer.
yeah. I mean, I've seen people come in and never come back. Maybe after a day or a week. It's not for everyone.
That that
So
that yeah, that is true. Some people, I guess, don't realize that when you get in that ring and you start taking bumps, they realize, oh
it
shit,
hurts.
even a simple fall in that ring hurts.
My first week, my neck was sore.
So I just did a pro wrestling boot camp a few years ago,
Mm,
thinking, oh, this will be fun. And it was. I'm not
yeah.
taking that away from it. But we gotta, do some stuff, running the ropes, take a couple bumps here and there. I was walking funny for a week.
No, I felt that my first time taking a bump, air came out. Air came out of my lungs. My neck, oh, my neck was sore. I would always forget to tuck my chin,
Mm.
and so like nothing but headaches. My neck was sore. My back hurt, obviously,
Oh
and
boy.
it made me also realize the cardio that goes into
Mm.
wrestling too. So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
quite an experience.
Oh yeah. Before I even did the pro wrestling boot camp for the promotion here in town, they I asked one of my friends that wrestles for the promotion. I'm like, what's something I can do to kind of make sure my body is at least somewhat ready for what I could expect? Basically told me cardio, the one word, cardio.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I started doing that. And I'd like to think if I didn't do the running and the cardio that I did, that I probably would have been walking funny for a little more than a week.
Yeah, no, it's very recommended to if you really think on training and doing wrestling, it's really recommended to like make sure you're in shape. Because I mean, if you just go in there and you have no type of conditioning or anything, you're gonna feel it a lot worse.
Oh yeah. I liken it a lot to how I was getting ready for Navy boot camp. Like I
Mm,
was running like multiple miles a day because I'm
yeah.
like, man, I don't want to get there and be one of those that you see just getting gassed out before they even do anything.
No, yeah. I mean, for me, I was somewhat used to it, mainly because since I did wrestling in high school, and honestly, it's it was kind of similar. Obviously, the other difference is the ropes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did remind me of my time in training during amateur wrestling. Yeah, I mean, even the warm ups during there, the cardio there is no joke either. You know, you could get gas pretty easily. And even during the warm ups while we're stretching, I'm already dripping sweat. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the time I was cutting weight to make weight, it sucked, but to me it was worth it.
That's awesome. Sometimes that hard work you put in makes the times worth it.
It makes it feel like a pretty good achievement.
Definitely, definitely.
Especially for me, because when I started, wrestling in high school, I want to say I was around like 240, 230, and I went down to like 188. So to me, it was a pretty proud achievement of mine being able to drop that
Definitely.
weight, and it gave me somewhat more confidence in myself being able to make that weight. So
Oh, I bet it did. Well, that is about all I have. But before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there.
so on Instagram, it is at the Chuy Gonzalez 4. Facebook, just Chuy Gonzalez. Twitter or X, I don't know what to call it now. It is El Jefe underscore Chuy.
All right.
And you can also find my matches on YouTube, Chuy Gonzalez.
We'll get all that in the description. Like I said, that is about all I have. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. And
No,
best of
thank you.
luck out there keeping everything going with the good job you're doing so far in your wrestling career.
Thank you. Thank you.